Hi, everyone. How are you doing today? Welcome to another episode of Raise the Vibe with Liz. I'm your host, Liz. And in today's Liz chat, I'm going to be talking about types of abuse. Now, we're all familiar with verbal abuse, physical abuse, mental abuse, but there's also financial abuse, spiritual abuse, and emotional abuse. Now, if you've grown up in my era back in the 80s, you really viewed abuse as that physical abuse or somebody verbally abusing you in excess, harming you. You don't normally think, okay, emotional abuse, spiritual abuse, financial abuse, sexual abuse, mental abuse. So I wanted to kind of run through different things you might experience if you're in a relationship at work or at home where you're experiencing these things that aren't, the typical, oh, I'm being abused, meaning you're being physically abused, harmed, or threatened in any way. So you have to ask yourself like certain questions, or maybe look in your relationship and see if you see any of these things. If you're having doubt right now, if you're watching this video, I'm thinking that you may be having a little doubt about your relationship, or you're doing the research on your relationship, to learn as much as you can so you can empower yourself. So first off, if your spouse is ever irritated or angry when you didn't do anything to upset them, if they're emotional and they turn to you and dump their irritation and frustration onto you, if you've ever felt puzzled by your partner's responses when you're trying to explain something, like they didn't get it, didn't get your attention, or you're arguing and you're wondering, who are they arguing with? This can be solved simply. The punishment isn't fitting the crime. If your partner's ever jealous or possessive or asking you questions about certain things, that is a type of abuse. It also may be projection, and projection is when our partners are projecting what they're doing actually onto us and starting to question, because if they don't trust themselves, then they start not trusting you. If you're made to feel mostly wrong and they're mostly right about things, if you feel like you're walking on eggshells and you have to be super careful to not cause conflict, or you try to avoid it by doing certain things to make sure everything is just right for when they get home, or you're talking just right, functioning just right, so you're not going to trigger them or cause any conflict. If they're giving you angry glares or looks, that is a type of abuse, because they're threatening you, by not saying anything. They're trying to set you off kilter. If they deter you from family and friends and they don't have a good reason, like you go over there and you're visiting family and friends, but then you start hearing how much they don't like it, or this, that, and the other, you just feel uncomfortable, then you can actually start stepping back, or maybe they're really outward about it and don't like it. But if there is a genuine excuse why, like if your family's not treating them well, or if there's toxicity going on with someone in the family, then of course, staying away from that person is a positive thing. But if they're trying to deter you from your family or move you away from your support system or something like that, and there's no just reason for it, then that's a red flag. Controlling money, if they're the main income bringer in the family, if they're withholding it, keeping it from you, taking yours, hiding money. And again, this is all circumstances where they're the breadwinner and you're at home. So there can be that financial abuse going on. Now, healthy things, like if you guys have separate accounts and you guys are being honest about what you're doing with your money and nobody's pressuring one or the other, then, that's healthy. If you're sharing an account, that's healthy. Have they blamed you for the abuse and then denied it? So if they're saying something or doing something and then they deny it or blame you or tell you you deserved it, or they did it because you did that or something like that, that's not okay. That's abuse. If they've ever followed you, shown up uninvited, wouldn't leave when you ask them to, if they've gone through your things, your mail, your email, your phone, text, social media, if they've done that, then that's not okay. That's actual, crossing boundaries and considered abuse. And that might also be projection. If they've got something going on, they may be projecting their behavior because they know they're doing something. So again, that whole trust issue, they're not going to trust you. If they've destroyed property, if they've hit things, kicked things, um, punched windows, doors, walls, hit furniture, thrown things, broken things. Those are types of abuse too. It's, look at what I can do, aren't you afraid of me? That aggression coming out. If they've ever forced you to have sex with them or insisted upon sex or harassed you for long periods of times when you didn't feel like it, that is considered sexual abuse. And of course, if they've threatened or intimidated or tried to harm you or a pet or family member in any way, of course, that is abuse. And they may try to rationalize it, but abuse is never okay. It is never your fault if someone chooses to abuse you. And there are healthy ways to solve issues and communicate, and all of these examples are examples of abuse. That verbal abuse, if somebody's name calling you, putting you down, jabs, all of those, that's verbal abuse. Mental abuse, if they're you know creating crazy making or trying to make you think you're something that you're not, or telling you this, that, or the other, and many other things, that financial abuse. And that there's also spiritual abuse, where the congregational leaders and spiritual leaders, they try to control their members by shaming them and controlling them. So those are all examples of abuse, of going back, it's never okay. It's not your fault. I hope, this is not happening to you. If it is, please get somewhere safe if you're in danger. And thank you for listening. I hope everyone's enjoyed this Raise the Vibe with Liz chat, and I hope you have a great day. And again, if you're ever feeling unsafe, please get somewhere safe. Call someone. There are local people who can help you, and the national numbers that you can call as well for information and help. So thank you and have a great day, everyone. Bye.